Hi, and welcome back to Poltergeist Board Games. Today I'm going to be doing a playthrough of Ben Rawlings' Violent Skies. It's available on Wargame Vault for $9.50. So please go out and check it out. So what I do when I do a print and play is I get like one of these little file folders, or I'll get a binder and usually make a label for it, and then put the contents inside. I have the example of play I put in sheets, and then I printed out the all the player aids that you need. So the first thing you want to do is print out those player aids. And today I'm going to be playing, I'm going to start a campaign with the Spitfire. So printed out this Spitfire pilot dynamo to the Blitz. Tells you the sortie setup, but what I'm going to be doing is the campaign. So the campaign starts a little earlier. As you can see, this sortie starts at step 3 on the campaign, and then it goes through player actions, bandit action, and then winning the game. And then there's a nice aid here to describe what each of the numbers mean. So here's the campaign table. So I print that out. And then what I did was, for the different planes, there's these canvas boards that I got from Target, and I made double-sided cards for each plane. So this is the BF 109, and so the first card is used from May to August, and then the second card is used from August to December. And depending on how long you do your campaign for, a short campaign is 10 missions, and then the others, can't remember, I think 15 and 20 missions. So here's the Spitfire one. And here's the BF 110, and then the Hurricane. And so what you do is, this is your card that you're going to be playing on. And you follow these pilot notes here. So this number 2 is how many dice you roll. The bracket number is how much energy you lose. Power is how much you would gain. And then you have a special ability you can use. So for the Spitfire, it's tight turn radius. Lose 1 additional energy to gain a +1 modifier on a gain position action. And then here is your endurance. So after every turn, you reduce your endurance. Energy, this is for if you're doing you're trying to gain a position, then you would lose energy. And then to gain energy, you have to do a maneuver called unload. And these are the actions you can do. You can shoot, and you do that when you're advantaged only. You can gain position. So that's like if you're neutral and you want to go to advantaged, then you roll a d6 to the agility rating at the rolled altitude and lose energy equal to the bracketed number. And you either gain advantage or change altitude if successful. So what you do is roll on so whoever you're playing against, if you're playing against a 109, you'd roll against this larger number. That's their agility. And then when they roll against this smaller subscript number. And then for the, when you shoot, the amount of guns you have are these blocks here. So the Spitfire has 3 dice they roll. And the 109 has 2 +1 +1, so they get to actually roll 4. And then they have 1 and then +2. This one has 1. This one has, or I'm sorry, it's not 2 dice, it's a +1 added to the die roll. So if you roll a 4, you say you roll 2 4s, you actually get 2 5s. And these are the planes you roll against. So this top number, if you roll a 1 to 2, then you're going to be flying against a 109. If you roll a 3, you're going to fly against a 110. A 4 or 5 is a Henkel, and a 6 is a JU-88. Then you have this airframe hits here. So this tells you you have to roll a 4 or higher in order to get a hit on, so they would have to get a 4 or higher to get a hit on me. And 2 hits, you get destroyed. And same with these 2 hits, you get, you destroy them. So for 109, it's 4 hits, or 4 or better. Here it's a 5 or better. Here it's a 6 or better. Same with the Junker, 6 or better. Now you'll see some have a D. So this D here indicates that they have a rear turret. And when you're advantaged on them, that means they can fire back at you. This D here indicates that they have a turrets on their plane, and they get to fire. So it says here, if the bandit has a D in place of its agility to hit, this is a defensive armament roll, gun die, regardless of player advantage, and follow the above attack action rules instead of a gain position. So that would mean they would, whether you're neutral, advantaged, disadvantaged, they would get to shoot at you. Now the one that's under the bandit type, this one, they only get to shoot at you when they are disadvantaged or you are advantaged. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So like I said, we're going to play the campaign. So you, first thing you do is you roll your weather. So here's the weather chart here. So we're going to roll 1 6-sided die. We get a 2. So we have clear and no landing roll. So weather's clear, and we don't have a takeoff roll. Takeoff roll happens if it's like raining. You have to roll on the takeoff table. So you can get like a ground accident or a rough takeoff. Good takeoff, no effect. So then you go to game turns on the card. So then we go to replace a 1d6 for each energy and endurance. So let me do that. All right, so we have a 4 for energy, and we have a 6 for endurance. So after every turn, you're going to reduce this endurance. And then when it gets down to 1, then you need to break off and go back home. Disengage. Okay, so now we roll 1d6 for the altitude. We get a 6. So 6 on here is high altitude. So we're going to put a 6 here to mark our altitude. And then we start off as disengaged. And then, okay, so that was place a marker on the disengaged box. Then roll a 1d6, determine the bandit, and place the engage counter next to the rolled bandit. Oops. We we roll a 2, so we're going to go up against a 109. Oh, and these are the markers. I put them, when I print them out, I put them on Scrabble tiles, just so they're easier to pick up and move around. So you have engaged, hit marker, and a wingman marker. And I'll explain the wingman. So the wingman is, let's see if it has explanations on the card. Let me grab one of these. So wingman, you gain a wingman counter and choose 1. You can gain a +2 to the next turn's position or disengage roll, or you can evade 1 attack if the bandit shoots once, or a player can perform 2 actions in the player's turn. And you'll earn these like on the events. So great wingman, start sortie with a wingman counter. And then once you lose it until you gain another one. Okay, so we determine the bandit. Now we place the engaged. So we're engaged with this guy. We're neutral. Now we roll the event. 3. So 3 is chain home, start advantaged. So that we're going to be starting advantaged. So we move this up to advantage. Now advantage means that we're coming at the aircraft from the side. Neutral is when you're head on. And disadvantage obviously is if they're behind you, or if they're coming from the side. Usually it's coming from the sides. Okay, so we did that. So now we go on to the player actions. So we can, since we're advantaged, we're going to shoot. But the things you can do, you can shoot, you can gain a position, which is, if you're neutral, you can try to go get advantaged. You can unload in order to gain energy. So when this gets down to 2, because if you make a maneuver, it's going to take away 2. So you can't go to 0. So you have to build up your energy. So the way you do that is you unload, and you gain energy that way. So you can like descend altitude and gain 1 energy, or you can just pull off a unload and gain 2 your bracketed number at your altitude. So we're at high altitude right now. Okay. Then you can also disengage, or you can use your wingman counter. So we're in a good position, we're advantaged. So what we're going to do is we're going to attack, and we have 3 guns. So we're going to roll 3 die. And what we have to do is get a 4 or better. So we got 2 6s and a 3. Now you can only score 1 hit at a time. So we scored 1 hit. So I put a hit marker there. And now it's the bandit's turn. So the bandit, being disadvantaged, is going to want to try to gain a position. So he's going to try to roll 2d6, or no, 1d6, because he's hit. So he has to roll against, we're at high altitude, so he has to roll a 5 or better. He rolls a 6. So he goes from, we go from advantage back to neutral. So that's his turn. Then we come back, this would be round 2. So we're going to round 2, and since that turn ended, now we move our endurance down to 5. Okay, so now we're head to head with him. We can't shoot because we have to be advantaged. So what we have to do is try to gain position. So we get to roll 2 die because we're uninjured. And I roll a 6. So we make that because we have to roll a 6 or better. And we make that. So we go back to advantage. And then we lose 2 energy because of this number here. I apologize. I was only supposed to roll 1 die at high altitude. So let me re-roll that. Move this back. Okay, so I rolled a 2. So we are still neutral. I lose 2 energy. And so now it's end of our turn. So now it's his turn. So he's going to try to gain position. And he rolls 1 die. And he has to get a 5 or better. He gets a 2, so he fails. So that's the end of that turn. So now we're down to 4 endurance. We're still head to head. So now we're gonna roll. Actually, we need to, because we can't maneuver because we only have 2 left. So we need to unload energy. So unload energy equal to the power number. So it's a +1. But what we're going to do is we're going to change our altitude to medium. So we're going to go down 1. We'll change it to medium altitude. And that'll give us a +1. So we will gain 2 energy. So unload gain energy equal to power rating, which is a 1. And optionally a +1 with descend altitude. All right, so we gain 2 energy. Oops. Okay, so now we're back at 4. And that's the end of our turn. So now we're going to roll for his turn. He's still rolling 1 die. He gets a 2, so he fails. And we're back now we're at 3 endurance. So we're still dogfighting, rolling, going around each other. All right, so now now that we have our energy back, we're going to try to gain position. So we need to roll a 6, or no, now we're on medium, so we need to roll a 5 or better. We roll a 5, and I get to roll 2 dice now. So we rolled a 5, and we gain position. We're now advantaged. And we're down to 2. Back to 2 again. Let me change that out. It's hard to see that one. 2. Okay, so now his turn. He's going to try to gain position, and he has to roll a 5 or better. Oops. Where'd you go? He rolls a 4, so he fails to gain position. So now we're set up for another shot. So we get to roll 3 dice. And we have to, the turn ended, so now we go to 2. So we're getting to where we're going to have to break off here. All right, so we roll 3 dice. And we get a 6, 5, and a 4. And a 4 or better is what we needed. So we did that. And we destroy him. So he is destroyed. And on your campaign sheet, at the end, you're going to put your mission number, the year. type of aircraft you're flying. Claims would be 1. If you ended and you only had 1 point of damage, you would put damage there. And then you get to track your points during a campaign, and there's skills that you can get. So this is a pilot record. For each sortie that you complete or that you fly, you get a pilot XP point. And then for each kill you get, so 1 point for a kill, half a point for damage. So you can get these skills. Here's 2 ace, they're called ace XP. And then you can go along and get these different skills. All right, so we defeated him, and this goes down to 1. And what we would do is head home. If you had, say you defeated him early, like in the first 2 turns, and you were down to 4, you have the option to roll for another bandit. So what you would do is roll again and see which bandit you would go up against. And then you would roll again on the events table and then go from there. So that is the game. And like I said, it's really fun to play. You know, I did 10 sorties last night in like an hour and a half or less. And you just keep track of your points and everything. I'll show you my pilot record for, I did a Messerschmitt. So here's my 10 sorties. And then you can put remarks. So like I fought a hurricane, I killed a Spitfire and a hurricane. And then you can write on a separate sheet of paper. I built a narrative, and you can, you know, make a story out of it. Post an after action report, which I've posted on several of the Facebook sites. You can see my AAR, but you know, I put the weather, altitude, bandit, what type of bandit, the event, and then I went through the rounds. So that's it. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And please go out and support Ben Rawlings and go to War Game Vault and purchase his print and play. Like I said, it's very fun and easy to play. A lot of replayability in the game because you can choose from many different aircraft. And you can do either just single sorties or you can start a campaign. And it's a lot of fun. So see you next time. Thank you for joining.